A shift in the Earth's inner core. Scientists say our planet's solid core, which is actually disconnected from the rest of the Earth's layers, may actually have stopped rotating and could even reverse course.
The world is shifting in ways we can't ignore. Skies showing strange sights. Rains falling in bizarre forms. And the ground itself behaving unnaturally. Everywhere you look, something mysterious is happening. And it's only getting harder to explain.
Oh my God! Oh!
A man driving back home in Florida stopped to film a sky that looked nothing like a normal sunset. The entire sky glowed in deep orange, clouds forming strange shapes that felt almost unreal. But what made it even more mysterious was a video from Morocco the very same day, showing the exact same fiery sky. Scientists explain it as Rayleigh scattering, discovered back in 1871, when light bends through thin cirrus clouds. Yet when two distant places share the same unnatural glow at the same moment, many wonder if there's something else at play. Ancient prophecies often describe the skies changing color before great shifts in the world. Could these fiery skies be more than just scattered light? Frozen glow. In Chicago's freezing winter of 2023, skiers looked up to see something that felt otherworldly. A glowing circle with radiant sides formed in the sky, creating a perfect cross of light. People started recording the sight that many thought was a sign beyond science. Meteorologists later identified it as a sundog, an atmospheric phenomenon where sunlight reflects through icy crystals. But when the same thing returned again in 2024, theories grew louder. Some called it proof of a crystalline dome above our world. Others linked it to hidden truths about our skies. Whether natural or not, the sight of glowing crosses in the frozen air left many believing they had witnessed more than just ice and light. Locust swarm. From Madagascar's 2013 crisis to huge swarms in Russia, Bahrain, and recent outbreaks across Africa and the Middle East, locust plagues have returned with frightening force. In 2019, a swarm halted traffic in Bahrain, a moving dark cloud that covered fields and roads. By 2022, parts of South Africa faced the worst outbreak in 25 years, devouring tens of thousands of hectares after long droughts weakened the land. Scientists link these surges to shifting weather patterns, long droughts followed by sudden rains, and changing migratory paths.
Any sudden change or any disruption in farming methods generally comes with an adverse economic.
These are conditions that let locusts breed fast and travel far. For many, these events might be linked to the plagues in old texts. The Bible's book of Joel and the plagues during Moses' time both describe waves of locusts stripping fields bare. In those scriptures, locusts signal both immediate loss and a call to change how people live. Today's outbreaks carry practical and deeper meaning. They threaten food and livelihoods, and they reopen old stories about warnings from the sky. Whether you read them as climate alarms or ancient prophecies, the swarms ask societies to act on farming, on climate, and on the fragile balance between people and the land. Sky rumbles. On a fall evening in Salvador, Brazil, people looked up when a deep, rolling sound shook the air, like a giant engine under the clouds. Clips started spreading of similar noises, reported in places far away on the same day. New Jersey residents even said radios were hijacked by strange, unidentified signals. They linked the sounds to unidentified aerial phenomena. Folks pointed to secret military tests or remote drones using frequencies we don't know. For many who heard that rumble, the sky had become a place where ordinary explanations no longer fit. Unusual eclipse. During a rare solar eclipse in Texas, observers noticed a strange view. They saw a ring-shaped shadow moving across the light, sharper and more defined than a usual eclipse shadow. Some viewers immediately linked the sight to ideas of hidden activity in the sky, saying the ring looked like a craft or device hiding behind the moon. Astronomers explain odd eclipse shadows as effects of light angles and local atmospheric conditions. But for those who filmed it, the shadow felt like a sign with intent, but it did not end there. Other videos surfaced online from the same time. They showed weird tree shadows that deepened the mystery, whether it was a natural optical phenomenon or something otherworldly at play. The sight made people unsettled.
If we buy these glasses, I can just look straight up at the sun.
Rolling skies. The sky over Richmond, Virginia in 2023 turned into a scene out of another world. A massive rolled-shaped cloud looked different from others and was going for miles endlessly. It was orange and yellow, colored by the fading sun. Twitter communities rushed to label it a roll cloud, a formation tied to storms. But the sheer scale of it and the fact that locals had never seen anything like it in their lifetime fed suspicions. The U.S. has long been accused of weather modification experiments, and locals see this as clear evidence of skies being altered. Lined skies. It started with streaks across the sky, strange ruler straight lines cutting through the clouds. For 2 days, people watched the skies turn from blue to a dull gray-white, with yellow warnings for rain. Onlookers linked it to weather modification, claiming HAARP technology was pushing frequency waves into the atmosphere, spreading chemtrail clouds across the horizon. Skeptics dismiss it as a mix of contrails and wind patterns, but believers insist you can watch the weather being engineered right above your head. Do you guys believe the same? Let me know in the comments below. Cloud portal? Driving down a road, a couple pulled over when they saw something impossible above them. There was a massive hole carved into the cloud cover, like a doorway opening in the sky. The man rushed out to film, capturing the hollow circle framed by dark clouds.
What the is that?
Skeptics said it was just a fall streak hole, a rare but natural weather phenomenon. But online viewers said it matched reports of frequency manipulation from HAARP transmitters, with clouds vibrating into shapes they shouldn't. For those watching, it didn't look like science. It looked like a portal, a passage to something beyond what we're supposed to see. Mosquito funnel. One evening over the Mutha River in Pune, crowds watched the sky darken with thousands of insects. They were forming narrow, moving columns that looked like small tornadoes. Videos showed the dark trails waving and rolling over the river, and the scene went viral across social feeds. While entomologists say swarms can form funnel shapes when wind and warm air meet, viewers say the opposite. They talked about genetically modified insects, secret releases, even tests gone wrong. The sight was a clear reminder that when nature acts strangely, people search for hidden hands behind it. Fish rain. At first, people thought it was a trick. Then the road in front of them thrashed with life. In 2017, residents of Salvador and India left stunned as thousands of fish were seen on the streets after a heavy downpour. Years later, in 2024, Iran recorded a similar scene of fish falling with storm rains, wriggling on the ground. Experts explain this with waterspouts overseas, spinning up fish and sending them inland until the wind drops and they fall back to earth. Still, the view of fish raining from the sky stirred old stories. To some, it was a sign of fortune, but for others, a warning from ancient texts that strange rains would come when people ignore moral deeds. Whether a rare weather loop or a warning, fish rains are one of those moments where nature and belief collide. Mysterious blue rain. In Texas, a storm rolled in like any other, but what followed left people speechless. Puddles of blue water covered streets and campgrounds and were caught on camera by shocked onlookers. One man walking to his car stopped in disbelief, while another, camping in the woods, found the same strange liquid near his tent.
Hey, we're camping in this beautiful state park in Texas, and it's been raining, and the water that's coming out of the sky is blue. And it's not this tarp, because it's happening on this tarp too. Look at that. This is crazy. Are they chemtrailing us in Texas?
Some believe it's a result of toxic waste mixing into rainfall, while others point to Texas's controversial cloud seeding programs, suggesting experiments in weather control may have gone too far. But no one knows for sure whether this is nature or a hidden truth finally spilling over. Split sky. Drivers slammed their brakes when the sky appeared to tear in two right above the highway in Florida. Witnesses stopped as the sky split, one half dark and gray, the other orange and yellow, as if two worlds met on the horizon. Onlookers watched in disbelief and recorded the sight. Meteorologists point to sharply separated air masses and sunlight angles making the effect, but for many, it felt deeper, like the sky showing two moods at once. They talked about interference from unknown craft, or it might be a rare optical divide that only a few ever see. That sharp line in the sky faded with the next hour, but those who watched haven't looked at daylight the same way since. Bouncing Earth. A farmer was standing on his land when the ground under his boots rose and fell like a slow drumbeat. Nearby, an excavator dug, and the earth kept moving, mud folding in on itself without obvious water. The man filmed the odd, wobbly ground and linked it to the idea of a mud flood or a hidden reset. Geotechnical experts point to liquefaction, trapped air, and vibrations from heavy machines turning solid ground into a moving mass. Whether hidden activity or plain physics made it bounce, the scene showed that the land doesn't always feel as solid as people assume.
Wow.
Strange rainfall. After a storm, a man stepped outside expecting to see wet ground and puddles. Instead, he froze. Scattered across the ground were strange black clusters, some small, some growing larger, as if tiny pieces were merging together. At first glance, he thought they were mosquito larvae, but a closer look revealed something metallic, unnatural, almost alive. No one could explain what the rain had carried down. The man feared industrial fallout, while folks suggest it could be something engineered, slipping quietly into our environment. Ancient texts once described rains of ash and iron as a sign of torment coming. Was this a warning or evidence of something more hidden in our world?
Voilà. Après la pluie, après une pluie tempête, j'ai dû rentrer parce qu'on pouvait plus bosser. Et là en fait, regardez ce qu'il y a. C'est pas des larves de moustiques. Ça se regroupe, ça fait que de se regrouper partout. Je crois que c'était des larves de moustiques, mais non. C'est des particules métalliques un peu.
Seven suns. For a few minutes, people in Sichuan looked up and counted. One sun, then another, until the sky seemed to hold seven. It was a rare display that left skiers and residents staring. It showed one sun clearly brighter than the rest. Experts call this a parhelion, or sundog, light bent and split by ice crystals in the air. Despite this logical explanation, the sight of several suns side by side felt like a message from the sky. Some viewers saw it as a simple natural wonder. Others let old folktales and modern theories fill the gaps. Whether a clear trick of light or a moment of awe, it became one of those clips people share again and again. Proof that the atmosphere can stage scenes that look almost deliberate. Strange sunrise. Florida is no stranger to unusual skies, but this sunrise was unlike anything people had ever seen. At 6:20 in the morning, instead of the warm glow of orange and yellow, the sky revealed something far stranger. There was a whitish, glowing orb that didn't look like the sun at all. Viewers started discussing the clip, calling it a rare atmospheric phenomenon, a technologically created sun, or an artificial light source planted in the sky. Some pointed to secret projects that aim to control light over cities. Others linked it to climate experiments gone public. Whether it was a strange weather quirk or a human-made light in the dawn, that pale sunrise left people talking till this day. Burning snow.
People say this is regular snow. Yeah, that's fire. I'm throwing freaking snowballs at it.
Utah's snowy mountains are known for silence, but one skier's discovery shattered that calm. He found fire under the snow, and he threw snowballs on it to calm the flames, but they stayed the same. The video went viral with people asking, how does snow burn? Scientists suggest chemicals hidden in the ice, but locals believe it to be geoengineering gone wrong. Because if fire can survive in snow, maybe it isn't snow at all. They accused authorities of making fake snow to manipulate the weather, but with no certain answers, the mystery remained unknown. Toxic fog.
As it gets later in the day, fog should lighten, dissipate, and it's really not. But the weirdest part is the taste and smell.
Across U.S. states from Tennessee to Georgia and as far as Australia, people looked out their windows and saw something unsettling. It was thick, heavy fog, not the usual morning mist, which was strange, blinding, and some even claimed the air smelled unusual. Soon, rumors of a global toxic fog conspiracy began. Researchers examined samples and suggested that local industry and weather patterns can create heavy, lingering mists. But the same strange fog appearing in far-off places told a louder story. Conspiracy theorists claimed secret spraying programs or covert chemical tests are altering local air. For many who breathe that fog, the worry wasn't only health, it was the feeling that something unseen was changing the air all at once.
Let me know if you guys are experiencing something like that. That's weird. Yeah, I mean, it smells.
Fog aftermath.
Walking in the yard, and I see this hair.
After a strange fog passed through towns, people found something impossible growing from the ground. Residents reported seeing fine, hair-like strands rising with morning dew, puzzling scientists and neighbors alike. Some researchers suggest fungal growths, fibers from airborne microbes, or plant-like filaments encouraged by chemicals in the fog. Others tied it to the earlier fog reports and asked if airborne pollutants changed the ground's tiny life forms. For many, the sight read like a warning. When the air changes, the ground can answer back, sometimes with small, strange signs people never expected to see underfoot. Magnetic pole shift.
Earth's magnetic field is the basis for all modern navigation, from airplanes to satellites in space and ships at sea, even Google Maps and smartphones. If it continues to deteriorate, those systems and more are at risk.
Compasses that once pointed reliably are wobbling, and that slow drift is stirring anxious questions about what might come next. Earth has two norths, the fixed geographic north and a magnetic north that wanders. Over the last 150 years, the magnetic pole has drifted hundreds of miles. Lately, it's raced northwest faster than usual, roughly tens of miles a year. Experts track this with satellites, and they warn that the field has weakened and changed shape before, and may do so again. A full flip of the magnetic poles is rare, but has happened in Earth's past. If it came, the planet's magnetic shield could dip, letting more cosmic and solar radiation reach satellites and electronics. That could disrupt navigation, communication, and wildlife that use magnetic cues. Some stories push this into dire futures. Others focus on steps we can take now, like better shielding for satellites, resilient grids, and careful monitoring. The pole's drift is slow, but it shows us how the planet's hidden systems can reshape the rules we rely on, and why paying attention to subtle shifts matters. Backyard mystery. It was 2016 in Ipswich, Australia. A retired couple's backyard became a hotspot, grabbing attention all over the world. They heard loud sounds and saw their yard turning into a gaping water-filled pit. Neighbors watched in shock as the hole grew bigger and bigger, swallowing the earth itself.
It's hard to explain, a hole in the backyard. And as we've been out here watching it all morning with our neighbours, it's got bigger and bigger and bigger.
Authorities explained it as the legacy of abandoned mines, but the size and speed of the hole looked unnatural. Some geologists claim ancient underground systems are shifting worldwide, connected to magnetic changes deep inside the planet. But locals believe that entire towns were built on forgotten tunnels, secrets buried beneath modern life. Either way, what opened in that backyard was more than a sinkhole. It was the past clawing back to the surface. Sun-moon collision? Florida skies have always been dramatic, but one evening left residents questioning reality itself. As the moon glowed above, another fiery orb appeared beside it, red and orange, blazing like a second sun. Footage spread instantly, with people claiming that it wasn't a planet at all, but a man-made star. For years, rumors about China experimenting with artificial suns have surfaced, hinting at a race to control the skies. Perhaps this was more than a coincidence, a glimpse into a future where even the sun is no longer natural.
And that's not the sun. That can't be the sun because the sunset is over there and the moon is up here.
So that must be a planet.
Covered sun.
That's not the sun. Something is really, really strange, y'all. Weird.
This woman was filming the late afternoon sky when the sun looked weird. It was half hidden under a dark veil, then slowly revealed itself in bright yellow parts, until the whole sun shone through. The footage felt like watching a cover being peeled off a giant lamp. People online said it looked staged, naming old claims of man-made suns and light projects. Meteorologists say cloud layers, light angles, and thin cirrus can create that effect, but the careful, staged-like reveal kept viewers uneasy. Whether physics or something man-made, the moment left a strong impression that even the sun can play tricks on the eye.
It's what, 7:25, something like that?
Candle sun. On a snowy slope in Austria, a skier stopped mid-run to film a sight that looked like a tall candle. It showed a light resembling the shape of flame, with particles drifting inside like smoke. The clip went viral for how beautiful and unreal it felt. Scientists call it an optical illusion of light bending through ice crystals and particles. But for the woman who filmed it, the moment felt sacred, almost like a doorway in the sky. The natural explanation did not make the sight any less powerful. It felt like a small miracle you don't forget. Water tree.
But you never seen that before.
Deep in a forest, rangers and police stood stunned as a tree gushed water like a hidden fountain. A man with an axe had cut into its trunk, and from the hole, a steady stream started flowing. Local tribes explained that this tree stores water for the summer heat, but experts called it wetwood, a bacterial infection that builds pressure until liquid bursts out. Still, the sight of a tree gushing water instead of sap felt otherworldly. Villagers believed it wasn't an infection at all, but a gift of nature, proof that forests hold secrets modern science hasn't fully unlocked. Mud volcano. In Malaysia's Taban Wildlife Park, the ground seemed to split open, and bubbling mud began to surge upward. It looked like a mud volcano had erupted with spewing gas, fine sediment, and liquid earth in a slow-motion burst. Scientists explained it as pressure from deep underground, with methane and CO2 forcing their way up. But for locals, the ground tearing apart and breathing gas looked far from ordinary. Ancient stories spoke of the earth releasing trapped spirits through these bubbling pits. Whether science or myth, the sight of liquid earth rising from below seemed unreal.
Guys, I think so. Go back, go back.
Fire and ice.
Check this out. This is an eternal flame. There's only 9 eternal flames in the entire world, and this one's inside of a waterfall.
Have you ever walked through snow and stumbled upon fire burning inside a frozen waterfall? That's what one adventurer filmed at the Eternal Flame Falls in New York. Through gaps in the icy space, a glowing flame could be seen against the rushing water. Geologists explain it as natural gas seeping through cracks in shale rock, turning into a flame that can burn endlessly. But many see it differently, a place where fire and water defy their rules and coexist. Only 9 of these eternal flames exist on Earth, making them rare symbols of mystery that nature writes stories stranger than imagination. Breathing forest. Ever experienced walking through a calm Canadian forest when suddenly the ground itself starts to rise and fall, almost like the earth is alive and breathing beneath your feet? That's exactly what an explorer captured on camera, and the sight left people speechless. His camera showed the ground moving in a steady rhythm. Scientists later said wind across shallow roots and loose topsoil can create the effect, but the scene felt strange. Locals began to tell other stories about hidden underground bases, machines working beneath the roots, and even rumors of things living below the earth. The footage refused to settle into one solid explanation, and it remained unknown what lies beneath our feet. Africa's slow split. In April 2023, Kenya felt a light quake that left a much larger effect. The East African rift is slowly pulling the continent apart. Geologists say this process has run for millions of years, and over a very long time. It can open a new ocean between the Somalian and Nubian plates. Viral clips of cracks and shifting earth made the idea feel close and immediate. But scientists stressed the pace is slow, millimeters a year, though dramatic local shifts can happen. Locals tied breaking land to long warnings in prophecy, where a changing earth was seen as a sign that old orders will shift and new maps will be drawn. It may take millions of years, but when the ground itself moves, the stories we tell about our future change with it. Unusual cloud. In Indonesia, workers ran towards something they thought they'd never see. It was a cloud falling from the sky. Yes, you heard right. It drifted across the ground like a living mist, thick enough to touch. Officials quickly called it a harmless condensation from mining activity, but witnesses weren't convinced. They believe experiments in atmospheric control are releasing gases we aren't told about, reshaping even the clouds. Was this a rare natural phenomenon, or proof that the skies are being engineered from above? What do you think? Comment below. Falling ice.
New details tonight as a mystery chunk of ice came falling from the sky and crashed into a Flagler County home earlier this afternoon. Kelsey Cairns stopped by the neighborhood where it all happened to see this incredibly unusual situation.
It was an ordinary afternoon in Florida until a thunderous crash shook a quiet neighborhood. When residents ran outside, they found a massive block of ice had torn through a roof, falling straight from the sky. The mystery deepened when people connected it to other unexplained cases. Aviation experts point to frozen runoff from high-flying aircraft, balls of ice forming, detaching, and falling.
Some of the busiest airspace on the planet is just above our head. There's airplanes going back and forth to New York, California, right over through Detroit. This is quite busy. So the potential for this kind of thing is not surprising.
It was an explanation that fits similar incidents from New Jersey to Ontario over the past decade.
In June of last year, something almost identical happened in New Jersey on a family that narrowly missed injury when a chunk of ice destroyed their roof.
Still, the pattern led to other ideas about hidden cargo, secret flights, or unreported atmospheric experiments being linked to these icy strikes. The FAA opened an inquiry, and mechanics started working to explain the physics, but the answers are still unknown. Unknown liquid. In the middle of a Saudi desert, the sand suddenly split open, revealing something no one expected. A thick, black liquid was moving across the ground. The strange flow gathered into a massive puddle, raising questions no one could answer. From a distance, it looked like oil or petroleum, but its sudden appearance did not seem normal. Netizens linked it to deep underground fissures releasing trapped hydrocarbons. But locals pushed a more unsettling idea of clandestine extraction, or waste, being moved in silence. Later, official teams took the samples for analysis, but no solid explanation was ever given by authorities. Backward fields.
I don't know that to be the truth, and I have no one to point a finger at. But I do know these sunflowers are not facing the right direction.
In a North Dakota sunflower field, a man watched plants that always follow light suddenly do the opposite. His camera showed row after row bending their bright faces away from the morning sun. Their backs turned like something unseen had passed over the land. Botanists say flowers turn from light when stressed by pests, disease, or sudden chemical shifts in soil. Locals, however, claimed it happened because of the interference from nearby tech, or even a moment when nature reacts to something people can't see. The sight stuck in his mind of an ordinary field behaving in an ordinary place, doing something that felt anything but ordinary.
You can see the beans and the corn and all that kind of stuff. And they don't have much choice. It's either grow straight up or fall down.
Glaciers mystery.
Oh my God! Look at this run! Oh!
First, a 2020 melt that shocked researchers. Then, in 2024, another glacier gave way, and online viewers began to tie the ice to unseen threats. Take a look.
Oh my God!
Antarctica's ice melted in striking ways in 2020 and again in 2024, with satellite images and field reports showing ice thinning and glaciers retreating. Researchers point to rising temperatures and changing ocean currents as the main causes. Still, people linked the melts to viral activity, claiming that microbes or old pathogens released from thawing ice could speed melting or cause strange effects. One dramatic phrase even floated around of a so-called zombie virus. Experts warn these are alarmist claims. Thawing ice can release ancient microbes, but the big drivers remain climate and heat. They said when ice that should be solid starts to vanish, people search for every possible cause, and the conversation shifts from science to fear and back again. Sun-fried egg. In South Australia, a man captured something that looked like a stunt, but wasn't. He left a pan in bright sunlight, cracked an egg, and within moments, the white and yolk were cooking on the spot. The man wanted people to focus on increasing extreme ground temperatures and strong sunlight. He shared the footage on TikTok, where people actually focused on it. For them, the clip became a clear sign of what dangerous heat looks like up close. It wasn't just a trick for views. It was a simple test anyone could repeat, and that made the reality of the heat impossible to ignore. Crimson rain. In parts of Iran, heavy storms brought rain, but not any normal rain. It was crimson-colored rain that made people worried and scared. Close-up footage showed the water that looked like the red dust from local deserts. Scientists explain that red rain occurs when winds lift red dust and sand particles, which are rich in iron oxide from desert regions. These particles are then carried by atmospheric currents and mixed into rain as it falls, coloring the rain red. Logical, right? But still, locals were not convinced and linked it to ancient prophecies. The book of Revelation describes 2 angels pouring out bowls of God's wrath, with one turning the sea red and causing every living creature in it to die. Whatever it was, the sight became one of the strangest events that had ever happened in Iran. Melting cars. In Dubai, extreme heat reached levels that left residents shocked. People filmed cars that looked soft, panels puffing, bumpers bulging, as if the metal had been warmed from the inside out. Clips showed protective films turning wavy and vinyl trims swelling until the cars looked oddly melted. Similar videos from China showed bubbles rising on car bodies after a sharp temperature spike. The media explained that cheap protective films and adhesives can deform under intense sunlight, but viewers gave other wild theories. Some blamed secret weather programs or engineered heat waves that target cities. Others suggested industrial emissions were making heat stick in strange ways. What do you guys think about it? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching the video. Do like and share it with your friends. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to not miss any of the upcoming amazing videos. Thank you once again.